Hi guys! So today I am bringing you a tag video. Now I'm kind of stealing this idea from Katie over at Effusions of Wit. She did this tag and kind of changed it a little bit, and so I'm stealing it because today will be the 1-year anniversary of when I started this channel. So I'm doing the new booktuber tag, but as a retrospective, looking back on my time here at using Booktube. So Katie did this and I think she stole it from somebody else, so we're just, you know, stealing it from each other. Because I don't think this was around when I started my channel a year ago, so I'm excited to look back on some things. I'm just going to pull up the questions here, and my phone is, of course, not cooperating. There we go. Okay. Sorry, I was having technical difficulties with my phone. This whole, like, thumbprint thing is still driving me crazy. So the first question is, why did you start this channel? I started this channel under the influence of a lot of really great booktubers who I still follow. Jean from Bookish Thoughts, Books and Quills, Jason from the Heavy Blanks. Actually, Jason was one of the main influences in me starting my channel because for the longest time, like, I really liked watching Booktube, but I didn't see what I was reading reflected in it. I saw a lot of YA, which I don't really read a lot of. I do go through spurts where I do read YA, but doesn't make up the bulk of my reading material. So I felt kind of a bit left out, and then I found Jason's channel, and I decided I really wanted to be a part of this conversation and a part of this, like, YouTube where it talked about classics and literary fiction and things like that. So that's, you know, the reasons behind me starting my channel. The next question is, what are some fun and unique things you can bring to Booktube? One of the things I think I bring a unique perspective in that I am pretty much finished my degree in history. I'll be finishing that up later on this year, and I feel like a lot of booktubers tend to have a background in literary studies or going to university for, you know, English, that kind of thing. And I think my historical perspective definitely gives me a different view on some of the works. I definitely view some of them as, like, primary source material and things like that, so I think that's definitely one of the things. Also the fact that I read not exclusively, but almost exclusively classics. Makes up the bulk of what I read. Yeah, it's just what I like reading. So next is, what are you most excited about for this channel? What I was excited about, and what I still am, is having conversations with people about books that I love. Also, sorry if you can hear that in the background, my mom's vacuuming. Is talking about books that I love and being able to have the kinds of discussions that I can't have in day-to-day life. Because a lot of the people I hang out with and a lot of my friends, and this isn't a slander against them, we don't talk about these kinds of things. And I felt like that was really missing in my life, and it's part of what I love about Booktube is that I can have this ongoing conversation and, you know, talk to you guys in the comments and talk to people who I've met through Booktube. I'm having great conversations with Katie and, like, people who I've met through Booktube, and it's just, honestly, it's widened my horizons on what I want to read and what I intend to read, and I just think it's great. This is the best part about Booktube, is that you can find people like you that you don't necessarily have in your day-to-day life, and I think that that's fantastic, and you can express yourself in a way that you may not be able to in your day-to-day life. So the next question is, why do you love reading? Now, I've been a reader for most of my life, and the next question kind of deals with this, so I'm not going to get too much into that, but reading to me allows you to be able to empathize with people who you may not necessarily be able to understand. I am so much more conscious of, you know, things like just how other people live in this world outside of my own little bubble, and without reading I wouldn't be able to understand that, and I think that's one of my favorite things about reading. That, and just being able to pick up a book and be transported and not have to live your, like, day-to-day life and be able to put that all aside and get absorbed in characters, and that's has to do with also being empathetic towards other people, is that you get to see things from a different perspective. So the next question is, what book or book series got you into reading? So I have a little story for you guys. So imagine little 8-year-old Alicia. I had short hair back then. And my mom took me on my first trip to the Stratford Festival. To those of you who don't live in Southern Ontario, the Stratford Festival takes place in Stratford, Ontario, which is just outside of London, Ontario. It's about 2 hours south of Toronto, and they do a lot of plays every summer. A lot of Shakespeare, hence the name Stratford. And it's like it's probably one of the better festivals for theatre that there are in Ontario. We go every year. I did a video recently, or I guess not recently, but like end of August, where I went and saw 3 plays. But yeah, so my mom took me to my very first play, which was Alice Through the Looking Glass. Now, this year I actually got to see it 20 years after I had initially seen it. That was my first play, and it was on again this year, so that was really exciting. But yeah, so we were in Stratford, and we went into this bookstore, and I'm pretty sure it was Fanfare Books, which is still existing today. I always stop in and buy something when I'm in Stratford at the bookstores. And at that point I was really into horseback riding. I'd started a couple of years earlier. I was a horseback rider up until I turned 20, so like 8 years ago I stopped when I moved to Toronto and didn't have regular access to a stable, and I found a Pony Club book. And I read it by the time we got home, and my mom on the way home stopped into the chapters in Barrie and picked me up the next book in the series. And I devoured those books. Those and like Saddle Club and Thoroughbred and books like that. That started my like reading obsession. That was the moment I'd always been a reader, but that was the moment it changed to an obsession of reading. So yeah, so that's how I got started on my like voracious appetite for literature, was through pony books. So the next question is, what questions would you ask your favorite booktubers? For Bass Pierce, I'm gonna just throw this out there. How do you read so quickly? Because we were just talking on Twitter about how many books we'd read in October, and I'd read 11 and he'd read 28, and I'm like, how? I don't understand this. I thought I read fast. Apparently not. Not that I'm ashamed of it, and not that like, I'm actually really comfortable with my reading speed. I don't want to learn how to speed read because I think that takes away from the experience a bit. But yeah, like that would be one of the things. But another thing would be for how people actually film their videos. I know Ashley over at Climb the Stacks did a great video on her setup. I currently am filming on a Canon EOS Rebel T1i, which is like the first of the T series. And one of the problems I have with it is it doesn't have the oscillating screen, so I can't actually see myself when I'm filming, which is why I tend to film in front of this, because it's really easy to focus, as opposed to if I film in front of my bed, it's kind of a lot harder to focus. But yeah, I would like to see and like learn how to film better, because I kind of just set my camera up and then start filming. And whether or not they script their videos, I generally don't, which you guys can notice sometimes when I bumble with my words. I just kind of talk at the camera about what's on my mind. Sometimes it takes me a couple times to get things started, and then the video becomes smoother, but yeah, I don't script them. The next question is, and the final question is, what challenges do you think starting a booktube channel will be hardest to overcome? One of the things I've had a bit of a hard time like dealing with is feeling a bit like an outsider. It's only been until recently that I've actually felt like I've been a little bit of a part of the community. For a long time I just felt like I was making videos and just putting them out there and nobody really watched them. I wasn't getting a lot of subscribers, and then I just kind of stopped caring because I just enjoyed what I was doing. And you know, now I've made friends, and that's great. And yeah, that was probably the hardest part. That and sticking to a schedule. I have it down to about 2 videos a week, and coming up with ideas on what to film is always a little bit hard. But yeah, that's one of the harder things, especially because I go to school full time and I work, and so you know, sometimes I'll set the uploads to start before I go to bed, and I have to be up at like 4 o'clock in the morning, and that's why you'll see my videos being published at 4 o'clock in the morning, because I've uploaded them overnight while I've, you know, and just hit publish in the morning. So, but yeah, so that is my retrospective on my you're on Booktube. I would love to hear your comments down below. If you guys are interested in starting a Booktube channel, please do tell me you have a channel. Because I'd love to check them out and, you know, make people feel a part of the community. And I think that it's a wonderful community to be a part of. And yeah, so I will see you guys next week. Bye.